lipo was 1,500 and the breast work was 63.
Awesome.
But then again, the facility
6,300.
6,300.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. But then you pay the
And then
5,000.
the extra 5 to 6 for the facility.
Yeah.
That is not too that expensive for all the work you've done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from neck down, I'm a new person. Well, I'm less of the old person because they cut it off and took it away. They didn't. Okay. So,
Welcome to the Bloom Era. Join Marie, Michelle, Vita, and Michelle, 4 lifelong friends, on our journey through perimenopause. We'll share our stories, insights, and laughter as we embrace this new stage of womanhood. Let's bloom together. Why am I so nervous?
Welcome back to the Bloom Era podcast, where we're figuring out perimenopause, one hot flash and one questionable life decision at a time. I'm Marie, and these are my best friends, Vita, Michelle. And we're talking about perimenopause and all the awkward stuff that we've gone through since puberty. Okay, so today we're talking about something a lot of women think about, but don't always admit. Plastic surgery. Because let's be real, we can love aging and also kind of want to hit the refresh button. Shelly recently took the plunge and made a few tweaks, and we're pulling back the curtain on the whole thing. Why she did it, what the process was like, and whether it was worth it. So if you've ever looked in the mirror and if you've ever looked in the mirror and want to make some changes, this is a good episode for you. Let's get into it, ladies.
Yes.
Okay.
why we think this is so funny.
No, I love the transparency because you look at like all these stars. And if you guys even ever ask your husband, like, what star our age or older you think's most attractive? My husband's like, Nicole Kidman. I'm like, yeah, she's gorgeous, but I'm pretty sure she gets like mini facelifts. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Her face looks plastic.
beautiful.
It looks like it's been done.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I really dislike not being transparent. So like no gatekeeping here. Guys.
Yes.
We'll tell you. We'll
What's
spill
going
all
on.
secrets or lack thereof. So.
Exactly. So we're going to start with just Shelly's transformation journey. So what have you want to just start talking?
Sure. I guess kind of started with I've spent my life kind of overweight, and I say dieting off and on, but really only 2 serious diets where I lost significant weight and then gained it back and then lost significant weight and gained it back. So in 2023, I kind of took the plunge and did gastric bypass surgery. That was in April, which was it was in May. So it was actually the month after my 40th birthday.
No. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Actually, because of the insurance steps, I started thinking about it when I was 39, but it takes a minute. But it was the month after I turned 40, I had gastric bypass. So then over the next 12 months, I lost about 85 pounds from that.
Wow.
And going through that, I was kind of scared about the possibility of plastic surgery just because of the pain and the expense. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to afford it and then what it was going to cost because of like skin removal, like just saggy skin from losing that much weight and being 40 and it not going to bounce back. I don't have that elastic skin, kind of like Marie over here does. So
used to be.
I was, thinking about it and worrying about it and things like that. But then I've talked to someone who had a mini tummy tuck, which that's just mini versus extended is the length of the incision. And
What is that? So like the length of the excision?
Yeah, the length of the incision. So if usually people who just have kind of like the stretched out little mom pooch, they can get a mini and just have that little spot removed. People who have lost a lot of weight have to have the extended, which basically goes hip bone to hip bone.
Oh, wow.
I had the extended, but when talking to her with the mini, she kind of made it seem like it wasn't that painful. It wasn't that big of a deal. Recovery was okay. Obviously, there's going to be pain. You've done it, but it wasn't awful.
Right.
So she's like, the best thing to do is kind of find social media sites about talking about it and things like that. So I started doing my research. This was in January. So in March, I went and met with the plastic surgeon and then scheduled my surgery for July of that year. And my first surgery, I had a tummy tuck with muscle repair come from the diastasis recti that you have. And I asked him how much mine was separated. He said it's about 5 inches separated.
Wow, Shelly.
So, which I remember when I was pregnant, I could feel the pull of the muscles. It hurt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that definitely hurt.
And then I also had a hernia that had developed from the gastric bypass that he repaired. He also said that was the biggest he'd ever seen. It was the size of his fist. I'm like, yay me.
Yeah.
So,
world record holder over here.
Yeah, go me. So that was one of the things I had done. And then also with that, they did liposuction in my flanks, which is kind of like above your hips.
Oh.
And then I also did a breast lift with augmentation because from the weight loss, my boobs were flat, except that the skin was still there.
Mhm.
Right.
So basically it was like a deflated balloon just kind of stuck to my chest.
Yeah.
So with the lift, basically that kind of puts, to get
Little
into
oomph in
real
the-
technical terms here, puts the nipple back in place of where it should be. So it's not pointed downward.
Gotcha.
And then the augmentation put the implants in to refill the balloons.
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And I didn't go huge because I didn't want, I'm not looking to go be a porn star or anything.
Right.
I just wanted to, look more natural and fill out clothes correctly. So
Yeah.
that was my first one.
I love it.
Liposuction is the most painful thing I've ever experienced, or at least it felt like it was at the time.
Worse than bariatric surgery, worse than C-sections.
Bariatric surgery was really bad.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be able to handle the bariatric surgery pretty easily because it was laparoscopic, and
Uh-huh.
I'd had 2 C-sections. I'm like, if I can
yeah.
get cut open, laparoscopic's nothing.
Yeah.
The internal work from the bariatric surgery was bad. But so that and liposuction are probably the 2 worst.
So what was your recovery time after your liposuction? Like how long till you felt like you could walk and stuff again?
You walked that day. You walk out. I mean, I don't
They're
remember.
making
I don't
right.
remember this, but you walked. You
How
walked to
long
the
did you
car.
walk comfortably.
So with the tummy tuck, because they've stretched the skin kind of together, you have to walk hunched over until the incision heals, so it doesn't re-rip. So you're like
Oh.
walking like a grandma. So you do that for a while.
What's a while? Like weeks?
Weeks, yeah. And you sleep propped up so that you're not straight out. You can't lay flat. You can't have to like sit up straight and lay flat.
This is not clearly a commercial right now. I'm like,
No, so I mean that's just. I mean, if you can sleep
it.
propped up, it's
Yeah.
not a big deal. It's not painful to sleep
Right.
propped up. The walking hunched over did start hurting your back a little bit.
Mhm.
But you were walking the next day, and the same way with when you have C-sections, they tell you walk,
Right.
get
Like,
the
that's the
muscle
best
flow and
thing
everything going.
for it.
Yeah. So you're walking the next day. The liposuction pain, it's because of the nerve damage that happens when they do it.
Oh.
I don't know if you've watched a video on liposuction.
No.
It's a scary video. I mean, they're taking this thing and they're jamming it in like their life depends on this thing.
Yeah.
But you're thinking that that's the least invasive, so it's
Yeah.
not going to hurt.
Yeah.
But the damage it does to the nerves and the
Nearby.
nerve
Oh.
repair is what hurts.
Oh, interesting.
And
Just tingly? Like what kind of pain?
it's a real bad, it's a tingly burn.
Oh.
It feels like you're on fire. Like you've had like you never burned yourself and it just burned, like stings and burns.
Okay.
That to extreme.
Oh my
So
goodness.
it feels like a really bad burn.
That's a very distracting pain. Like,
Yeah.
like
You
you're
can't
thinking,
move
you
past
can't,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
like,
Yeah. So the liposuction was very painful. The other stuff, because they give you pain meds.
mhm.
The pain meds did nothing for the nerve issues.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. But it kind of did great on the incision work and the muscles and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So those were good. Once I came off of the prescription pain meds, which I came off of after like a week and a half, just
Mhm.
because, one, it wasn't doing anything for the worst pain anyway. And I don't like to be on prescription pain meds that long just because of this stuff about them. So I went to just Tylenols. That's when I could start to feel the muscle repair pain,
Mhm.
but that's only when you would try to sit up. So
Yeah.
you're using that muscle.
Yeah.
That's the only time it hurt. The incision stuff never really hurt.
Ooh.
The breast work never
Okay.
Really?
never hurt, or at least not more than anything else.
It never,
Oh,
Yeah,
just
it-
relatively.
it never got to the front of the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never
Other
noticed.
stuff to worry
Yeah,
about.
other stuff was hurting too bad. It's like so you just don't even pay it. So nothing there. I mean, I guess if that was the only thing I had done, it might have hurt, but
Mhm.
because it was with other stuff, I never felt it or had any problems with it at all.
interesting.
So that was the first one, and
Yeah.
the pain associated with that one. They won't do another surgery for at least 6 months. So at my 6-month appointment, we started talking about a thigh lift, and it's called a brachioplasty, but it's an arm lift.
Mhm.
So I just had that about 3.5 weeks ago.
She's
Mhm.
fresh. She's fresh off the,
It's still pain. It also included some liposuction in the thighs. So again, that's the severe pain compared
Yeah.
to the other things. But walking with the incisions is a little bit more
Uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
not a pain so much as an uncomfortable.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then with any of your surgeries that you get with liposuction and these, to prevent swelling, they put you in compression garments. So that's what this
Oh,
is. And
okay.
I've got another one for the legs. It goes all the way down to like just past my knees. And for the most, it's like basically wearing Spanx, but you're wearing it 24/7, except
Yeah.
for a shower. It's the only time you take it off.
Oh, wow.
So it starts to feel just kind of constricting and claustrophobic. Like, oh God, especially if you like, my first surgery was in July. So when I first had it, it was kind of
It's
hot.
and sticky. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, if you're going to plan this, plan to have your recovery period in cooler time period. But yeah, so those just feel kind of claustrophobic after a while. So sometimes I'll just take it off and lay on the bed for 15 minutes and then put it back. But it's
back
to help
prison.
prevent swelling
Mhm.
and things like that under the
And
skin.
keeps everything
Yeah.
So
moving
what's
through.
the time period? How long do you have to wear that?
I'm not sure on these two. I know with the first surgery I had to wear it for 6 months.
24/7.
Or pretty
For the
much.
most part,
24.
except for when you're showering or changing clothes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Are you happy with
Yeah.
your decision to do it?
Was it
yes,
worth
Yeah,
it?
it was worth it.
Well, okay,
Very
real quick, how much was it? Worth it?
Itemize it, Shelly.
I did bring my
Itemize it.
costs. I was gonna say pairing up your things. Like if I had done these as 4 separate surgeries or 5, even with the lipo, because it's technically 5 different procedures.
Yeah.
If I had done them separately, they'd been one cost versus pairing them up. So doing
Probably
the
because the anesthesia, you get
the anesthesia and the facility fee, those are almost $5,000.
Yeah.
So I would have had to pay that twice
Mm.
or 4 times
For each time.
Yeah, for each time. So I only had to pay it once for the paired surgery. So for the thighs and arms, it was just under 16,000.
For
Wow.
lipo and skin removal.
Lipo skin removal of thighs and arms.
Okay.
Wow.
It included the undergarments. It includes all your follow up visits.
It's not terrible. I thought it'd be more.
16,000?
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
every more.
For some, I just thought plastic surgery cost a lot. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
I
if I
don't
had
know the
not
range
if
of
I had
cost.
not done the arms, it would have saved 4,000 on that cost. If I had not done the thighs, it would have saved almost 6,000.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
together those were about
and then plus the
10,000 of the cost.
Yeah.
And
And-
then the other 6 was the
It's
facility.
the
fee.
facility
I gotcha.
fees.
So,
So if
okay.
you only wanted like the arms, like this, hangy skin kind of
You'd
thing,
still
you
be
subtract
paying.
6,000.
Yeah.
It'd only be 10,000. For my first one, which was the tummy tuck liposuction,
The mommy makeover, essentially.
basically,
I mean, a
yeah,
lot of
the
places like
breast lift with augmentation. That one was 23,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just the tummy tuck was 7, just the lipo was 1,500, and the breastwork was 63.
Awesome.
But then again, the facility
6,300.
6,300.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But then you pay the
And then
4,000.
the extra 5, extra 5 to 6 for the facility.
Yeah.
That
The
is
facility.
not too that expensive for all the work you've done.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, neck down, I'm a new person. Well, I'm less of the old person because they cut it off and took it away. They didn't. Well, I guess so.
So do you feel like it was worth the cost and the pain and the time and all that? You feel more like yourself? Do you feel more confident?
I'm definitely more confident. First time I think ever in my life I looked in the mirror and liked what I saw.
Oh,
That's nice.
that's
Because
worth
even
it.
like when you're younger, I was probably smaller than this at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm comparing myself to other girls who are my age who are the size 0.
Right. And you're hanging out with every
Yeah.
day. And,
So at the time I thought I was big,
yeah.
but now this is probably the first time I've looked and I liked what I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. I love that.
But I don't know if that's because of, I mean, obviously it's a transformation, but like the age, like now that you're older, I think you
Mhm.
can see the world differently because you could still have done this and still have that mindset of like comparing yourself to like a celebrity or a pop
Sure.
star,
Yeah.
But I think your mindset's changed too to where you can accept that,
We're not all built like
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And then also my
There's
before
someone to
versus my
compare to.
after
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
That's
a big change,
Uh-huh.
guys.
Yeah.
Like it's a big change. So my before to my after,
yeah.
it's so
So
such
how
a
much
large
total
change.
weight difference
right now compared to before.
when you
Before-
first
before surgery.
first
Before you even thought of before you-
95 pounds.
Wow.
okay.
That's a lot,
Okay.
Shelly.
Yeah.
And then 85 pounds before that with the
that was
bariatric
total,
surgery or this total?
I was about 82 pounds before my first plastic
Plastic surgery.
Okay.
So
you
since
lost
then,
like
about 12
more pounds
Of
of
skin.
skin and
of
all that
skin and all that. Yeah, which I
Okay.
still have. From this one, I'm still swollen a little bit, so there's still hopefully some water weight in there that maybe another pound or 2 will leak
Yeah.
out. Because they do put fluids back into you as
Yeah.
they're doing stuff.
But like you lose no more weight. Are you happy with like,
yeah, my
Yeah.
goal was 100. So
Uh-huh.
I mean,
5 pounds off?
5
Like,
pounds.
you're going to be okay.
that like
Yeah.
depending on the time of the month, that could be that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to worry about that. So I feel like I've kind of got where I wanted to be.
Yeah. I love it. No, I mean, it's
I love how open you are. I feel like a lot of people are very like, they feel like embarrassment
Mhm.
or like, kind of like, I don't know why people think like,
Well,
I
that's
feel
what-
like this is, you did not have an easy road. It's not like you took a shortcut, Shelly.
no,
Like,
not at
this
all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that.
It's definitely not. It definitely wasn't easy.
Yeah, it sounds hard to
I
me,
guess
yeah.
for me, it was easier than the other stuff I've tried because I wasn't able to do those things. So obviously, this was easier for me.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I did try the other things
Yeah.
and they didn't work.
Yes.
And like I said, I did 2 serious diets that took about 2 years each.
Mhm.
I lost 40 pounds and stalled and could not lose past it
Mhm.
Yeah.
both times over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
And after dieting for 2 years,
You're
know,
just
mental
gaining it
capacity
back.
is gone.
Yeah.
So then you
Yeah.
gain it all back. And then one
now
of
you've
them,
got kids,
one of them was
like-
a COVID, like the 2-year period was when COVID started. So then COVID just at
Oh.
home, no movement. So I just didn't have the mental capacity to get it done.
Yeah.
I still have craving stuff now. So luckily I can't eat too much. So
Right.
that helps, with that. So, this definitely wasn't an easy path, but again, it was the path I needed to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel any like way about like, oh, do I want to be a person that does plastic surgery? Like, did any of those thoughts come in?
Way
or-
back when, if you'd asked me 5-10 years ago, I would have been, I've never having plastic surgery. I would have felt, why waste my money on that?
Mhm.
And then also surgeries got risk.
Yeah.
but-
Are they worth
and
feeling
also-
pretty?
Yeah. And also, I think the term plastic surgery kind of threw me. Like, I looked it up when I was doing my research for where to go. I was like, where did the word plastic surgery come from? I was like, why do they call
Love
it
that
that?
Shelly does this.
And I looked it up. I copied it on here. So.
I've never thought about that.
No,
Shelly.
me neither.
Right.
I thought
the word plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was because all of the stuff, most of it's implanting stuff
Yeah.
into you that is not real.
Right.
Plastic's not real. That's
Yeah,
where I thought it
That's
came
where
from.
I would have.
It doesn't. It comes from a Greek word called plastikos, which means to form or mold,
Mm.
which is probably where the word plastic actually came from.
Yeah. No.
But
Which came first?
so it,
Yeah.
it focuses on reshaping body tissue.
Interesting. That does make it feel different. Like,
I was like, I always heard plastic surgery and thought,
Fake.
oh,
You think,
that's
like, plastic,
fake.
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fake. You're you're cheating almost.
Yeah.
So when I looked that up, I was like, well, that makes better sense. I was like, why would they name it this stupid name and make people feel bad?
Yeah.
right? No, because that is a big part. It feels
Yeah.
the connotation of fake plastic, like it's
Yeah.
a material situation,
Yeah.
not a molding and
Right.
reforming of body
Yeah.
tissue.
And I do feel like there's more judgment probably because of that. And, I was thinking like forever,
Mhm.
people, men and women, have done things to modify their bodies for beauty or for their own reasons or for
Right.
what their society said. And I feel like, wearing makeup, dyeing your hair.
Where
I
does
did
it end?
Botox.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
have our
Yeah,
ways
that's what
of
like-
modifying your body. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like when you get it, people are you're afraid people are going to say, you're vain and don't
Yes.
care about what you look
Mhm.
like. But I'm like, could the same not be said about somebody who wears makeup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could
Like,
the
where
same
does
not be
that
said? What
land?
about name brand clothing?
Yeah.
I just spent more money to be vain than you spent to, to be vain.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Right.
We're all vain in some
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We all care about what we look
Yeah,
like.
of course.
It's just, I guess, what are you willing to do to
Well,
get there?
and I
kind of
think
thing.
with the weight loss first, like a lot of that is health related too. Like now you can walk
Mhm.
around with your children more and like you've got better, capacity to move your body and to live longer. So that's a
Yeah.
big deal. And then
Yeah, and initially that's what the plastic surgery was for me to start off with, was to get rid of the extra skin because I had lost the weight and that saggy skin just kind of it's not pleasant and
Yeah.
there's no way I could get rid of it any other way.
Right.
You can't
Yeah.
work it off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I can build as much muscle as I want unless I become a bodybuilder. My arm was still going to always sag.
Yeah.
I'd have to have one of them gigantic
And a huge arm
biceps.
you'd have to
yeah.
Yeah.
It would
It's not
just be a huge arm, even if it's muscular.
Yeah.
But that's not something I would want to look like. So
Yeah.
there's no other way to get rid of that skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So did you kind of, when you did gastric, did you already kind of know in your mind that, like, did they tell you like you'll probably have plastic surgery?
I was
for
worried about it
excess?
for the inner thigh
Uh-huh.
because it was already kind of saggy,
Right.
just in general. It's a saggy, kind of
Area.
a soft
Yeah.
skin area. So that's the one I kind of most was thinking about. I wouldn't even think about other places. And the reason I thought about that one too is because most of the other places you can cover up.
Right.
Like I can always wear a one-piece swimsuit, tuck stuff in.
Yeah. Everything can compress itself
But
back in.
even with a swimsuit, unless I'm wearing biker shorts, you're gonna see thighs.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
the one I was the most worried about. And then the arms, you could see it, but to me, that one wasn't as big of a deal. I guess I didn't worry about it. I
Yeah.
don't think when you're looking at somebody, you're not going,
Ooh, their arms are.
arms are kind of big.
Yeah.
So,
Right. No, it's like,
that was kind of a lower priority area.
yeah.
So if I hadn't had to do the thighs, I wouldn't have done the arms. Like I would not have done
Mhm.
just the arms. But since I was already paying all the stuff, go and take care of the problem.
Yeah.
Shelly is like, I think the most efficient.
Yeah.
Like I would have just like done one and then been like, that wasn't so bad and do another, and then like $30 million.
And I will say, I would not, the pairings that I did, I think are probably the best pairings. And that's probably why they do it. They won't do arms and breasts in the same one because it's so
it's
close.
too much.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I think the way with mine, like legs and abs would also be not good to do together because when your ab muscles are sore, you're relying a lot on your lower body to
Yeah.
lift yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically transferring where you're
Yeah.
putting that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the pairings that I did make that the easiest. If
Yeah.
I had done legs and stomach at the same time, I probably would have been in the bed for
Right.
a while.
Would they have said no? Like, would the doctor have caught that? Maybe
I don't know if this office would have said no. I've done a lot of
Yeah.
reading online, and some people say that they've done them together.
Okay.
And they acted like it wasn't no big deal, but to me,
Yeah. Now that you've been through it, you're like,
yeah, I'm like, I had to use my legs a lot to lift up, like
Right.
almost like squat kind of thing,
Yeah.
versus using your stomach muscles,
yeah,
and then vice versa now.
Yeah.
And I would use my arms to push up
Yeah.
off the bed instead of trying to use my stomach to pull myself up.
Yeah,
Instead of doing
right.
the crunch, you would push.
yeah.
So just having the muscles that you can use to supplement the muscles that are sore
Mm-hmm.
is a good thing.
Well, are you finished with your journey? Do you?
I think I'm finished. Yeah.
What else can you do?
There's that.
Hey.
You know.
That's the one thing I've noticed is I can see how this could become addicting. Like, oh, I've fixed this area and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about this area? You know,
Yeah.
like, I could keep finding a
What are
spot
you
that
gonna
I'm
do to your
not
butt?
happy with. I'm not doing anything with the butt. I definitely don't need to add any fat there because it's still around.
what it needs to do.
I guess the only thing if I had done something back there, if I had done like a full body lift, they do basically
Cut you through the way.
they cut you all the way around and pull it up like a pair of pants.
Oh, shit.
That just seemed like a lot to me. I don't know if I could have handled that just as far as the pain, but that lifts the skin of the butt. But mine, I don't think because I guess my butt is still kind of rounded. I didn't have a whole lot of saggy skin in the butt.
Yeah.
Right.
The thigh pulled a lot of the underneath
Oh,
stuff
okay.
with that.
Your butt was
anyway.
like, I have been working for you since you were 12.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, I do not have a flat booty.
Yeah.
So that's still there. I guess if I would start just thinking real critically, my calves are already kind of big.
Mm.
So I could do some lipo there. But again, lipo was the worst.
Yeah.
So,
probably
no.
not.
Fat? Or they
I have
because of
thick,
muscles?
I'll have thick calves.
Is it muscle
Tiny
thick
ankles,
or-
though.
No, they're both. It's
It's
both.
both.
People like work out to get strong looking calves.
Yeah.
Shelly. Like,
Yeah, don't do that.
or really
How
trying to build calf muscle.
hard-
Well, now that I've done the thighs, I just don't want it to look straight down, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing. So that could be one area if I was to just
Get-
try to
yeah,
keep going. If I was to get to the addiction, but
Yeah.
definitely don't think that the improvement there would be worth
Worth the pain.
the pain and cost.
And,
Yeah.
And then the other stuff would be face stuff. And I don't want to get into face stuff because if something goes wrong, I can't cover it up.
Mm.
If something neck down went wrong, I can wear clothes all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid of face stuff.
Mm.
And the face stuff, again, I've got like saggy skin here where I had, the big full face. And then like my face kind of sags here. To me, that's more of an aging thing than a size thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Your
I'm
face
not
did
as-
well.
I'm
getting
not as
smaller.
worried about looking older
Yeah.
as I was about looking overweight.
Right.
Yeah.
Bloated. Like
Yeah.
that bloated feeling. I mean,
that-
I'm going through it now, so I know.
Yeah. So, so the face stuff doesn't bother me as much.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
that's something I could kind of look at. But the scar for that's like in front of your ears, which apparently they can do really well.
Apparently, all the face surgeries have really improved, and
Yeah.
everybody's looking
Yeah.
at all these mini
And
lifts.
if they do
and stuff they're
this,
doing.
it's like there's an incision right here that they do. I
Yeah.
want to see how
I've
it is.
never- I
I'm
haven't
scared of
looked into
face
it. Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
you've seen the celebrities who've gotten really into it, and you
Yeah.
can tell that they've done the
Yeah.
face
Yeah.
stuff, and they don't even look like themselves anymore. I don't want to not look like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Would you guys ever
celebrity.
do?
Yeah. We can segue into
Anything?
yeah,
Like,
anything. Like, what are your?
Gosh, I would love a BBL, but I don't think I would ever do it. But I mean, I want like it'd be nice to have a round booty and like full body liposuction. I mean,
BBL is between
They call
at where I got
they-
here.
they call it?
Brazilian butt lift.
Okay, they do.
Yeah.
Call, okay, I didn't know if that was like
Yeah.
a.
It's and typically that uses fat from another area in your
I've
own
got
body.
plenty of fat.
Yeah,
to
they
go in
would
my butt.
liposuction it out of one area and put it into your butt.
Yeah.
It's not usually an implant. It
Yeah.
can be an implant,
I wouldn't do an implant.
but it's between 12,500 to 15,000.
That's not bad, but I wouldn't
That-
do it. I don't
Yeah.
think. But if
But
that
that's
was
the one on
I
the
mean,
menu that you'd be
yeah,
like.
I guess I've always been a little bit overweight, so obviously liposuction would be
Not
awesome.
always been a
Not,
little-
no, I
Yes,
don't know.
well, not always. You're right. I had a point where I
I'll
was.
put the picture up of you not being
Sorry.
overweight
Yes.
at all.
And I'm going to
When I was
say
in
for
high
most
school-
of your life, you were. You were like
No.
you were tiny in high school too.
You
But then
right.
you were like a bodybuilder for a hot
That's
second.
true. That same game of like Shelly was
Yeah.
tiny, like
Yes.
because what Shelly was a size 9, we were probably like size 7s, like
compared to
a double zero,
yeah,
like
so,
yeah,
yeah,
like beef and
comparison-
vulture, like,
yeah. I look back now and I realize, yes,
Yes.
I was not overweight. But I am.
And I don't think I ever looked at you and was like, "Oh, Vita's over." Like nobody did.
Yeah.
Nobody did.
No,
But,
but
okay,
go ahead.
maybe
You're
that a
gorgeous.
little bit, but right
Yeah.
now I do have a little bit of extra fluff, and I've always had issues with like having a flatter booty,
Mm.
so I wouldn't mind a rounder butt.
Right.
But I think the only way to get that is kind of like a BBL, I guess. I mean, I guess it'd be nice to like get all a little bit of fat away from like my love handles and
Yeah, like just
stick it in
squish
just
plastic. Mold that baby.
mold it down. Can I get a massage
Yeah.
to move it down to my butt?
Is that a thing? Shelly looked like she had an answer.
No, they have like those now things like the freezing
Yeah.
liposuction. I've not read that they're that great.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
But basically it
But
freezes the
Yeah.
fat cells in your body to where they kind of just die and shrivel up
Oh.
instead of sucking them out.
I'm not at the point though that I feel like I would need to do any of that. I feel like I need to just diet and work out at this point. I feel like I've done that path before and it worked out for me.
Yeah.
And I'm gotten heavier now because I'm not doing that. And I actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's more of like not having the time to do it versus not wanting to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
But
just on the priority of
Right,
yeah,
right.
like you have
yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. So I mean, I think, but yeah, if I've thought about it, of course, to be like, would be nice to have a
Yeah.
nice round booty through a
How about-
BBL.
How
Yeah.
about you, Marie? What's
Oh,
one thing you've thought
100% a boob job. Like
Okay.
a boob job, of course, a boob job. Like
Yeah.
Mark's even like, yeah, a boob job. No,
Shelly says it's not painful.
it's not painful, and it wasn't that.
And I had the lift, so I imagine that would be a little bit
Yeah,
more
more
intense than
because
it's
I
more
guess-
than just.
I guess with a
Yeah.
boob job they do kind of the cut underneath the boob.
I don't even do the cutter. Don't they do like a little thing on the side sometimes?
I don't know. My guy does
That's
it like
just-
under the boob,
Oh,
here,
okay.
and then they squish it in there and sew you back up.
Yeah,
With the lift, they do that, and then they go up and around the nipple,
Oh, okay.
and then they kind of take skin away. Like, they kind of make two cuts right there, and then they sew it all back around the nipple.
so you had stuff touch your. I mean, like there was incisions in and around your nipple
Literally
area.
around it. yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like any sensation has changed in that area? And we'll cut this out if you're like, no, I don't want to talk about this. We can. We'll cut this off. I just now need to know.
No, the
Yeah.
feeling is all still
Also
as
good.
it needs to be.
Yeah.
I will sometimes like it can get
Like nerve
you can
damage
feel
or
like a little
a glip.
I don't know like a more painful kind of feeling
Okay,
as opposed to just feeling it being there. Like, as opposed to just
Gotcha.
like this, like doing this doesn't hurt.
right.
Sometimes it
could.
That
Yeah.
it would.
Gotcha. Okay,
I don't know.
that's been my
Yeah.
biggest like
yeah.
I never would because it's expensive and I'm
Right.
poor. But like that's just not
Yeah.
It's like groceries or boobs.
Yeah.
yeah, right. I'm sorry.
Well, for them, that is their version.
but that's been a big thing for me is like I really enjoy sensation there. So like I would never want to risk like especially like I'm married. and
That's what
I'm
I've always thought about
Yeah.
with like the people who get labiaplasties. I'm like,
right,
what
why
if
would you
something
wanna-
messes up?
Yeah, like that
I
kind
mean,
of thing. Like
After I had my knee surgery, I still 2
Can-
years later I can't kneel on it without pain. So yeah,
Oh.
and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure the nerves are different.
Yeah.
oh, but I mean, but it's that
everywhere,
same
but yeah.
idea of
Yeah,
like, you're
exactly.
messing with nerves.
Well,
Yeah.
after my C-section,
Yeah, I don't
Typically
like it to be
bro-
touched.
Yeah.
Like if I hit it on a
Yeah,
table
like-
or something, or Jeff touches my knee, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
after my
Right.
C-sections, right around the incision, I never got full feeling back there
Mhm.
correctly. Like I could
Mhm.
feel pressure touching it,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't feel the same. Like if I was to like scratch my arm here, it feels one way. If I scratch there, it kind of felt like I was scratching something else.
Oh, interesting.
That was my C-section, so that stuff's gone. So,
Yeah.
and it may just be like the scar tissue
I was
that
gonna say
builds
scar
up.
tissue. It doesn't necessarily have
It doesn't-
nerve endings.
Yeah.
does it?
I
Yeah,
think it's like
it
a
may be the
different-
scar tissue and stuff, but so that did happen with that. But so far with these, I haven't noticed that. I could imagine the incision on the tummy tuck may have that, but you know,
Right.
it's
Like,
not that big of a deal across your tummy. But yeah, boobs or
yeah, like places that you're
labia and stuff. You want to
know
make
the
sure you won't
sensation.
feeling there.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
But yeah, now that I'm like past, and I also thought again, this was never a serious thought for me, but I did want to breastfeed or at least try to. So, and I don't know how that would have impacted like,
Yeah.
but now I'm out of, well, not quite yet, but yeah,
should
I'm
not
in
have a
just
big
the zone of-
yeah.
Just a regular breast augmentation should not affect it.
Yeah.
Again, they just do the slit and they
Underneath
slide it up
the-
underneath
yeah,
the muscle
and all that.
So it's
the-
under the muscle, not on top.
Yeah.
I know like
They can do it anyway.
bodybuilders
Yeah.
have a preference. I don't know which
They do
one.
it
but
different
have a
ways.
preference
They
for one
prefer
over the
underneath
other.
the muscle. They said it looks more natural. The people who have like the big hump right here,
Uh-huh.
they've done it
it's probably
over.
not under the muscle because you can see the implant. that's
Interesting.
actually
Yeah.
over the hump.
But yeah,
What about
so-
you, Michelle?
Yeah.
I would probably like. I don't mind my little boobs.
Yeah.
I don't mind my butt. I think the only thing I would do would be my face. Like I would definitely like.
Interesting. So you would
do
do it like it doesn't
facelift.
scare you?
Oh, it scares me.
Oh,
That's just
okay.
why I probably won't.
Won't,
I'm
yeah.
terrified of surgery.
A face
But-
and neck lift is between 12,000 and 18,000.
Whoa, that's more expensive than your whole body. Oh,
I wonder. I mean, I guess
I guess it's very-
because you
like,
can't
I like
cover it
it
with a
surgery.
shirt. Like if
Yeah,
it goes wrong,
Be
But I think
careful,
that-
I guess.
And you're right. It's funny because what we talk about, you're like, oh, you're like, mine was more related to being overweight. I don't mind aging. And I think for me, I'm like, oh, I don't want to look old. Like for
Yeah.
aging, I think is
Yeah.
what I'm like, And that's why I do like microneedling and, Botox. I don't do fillers yet or at all because my husband doesn't want me to. But otherwise, I think I might, like.
Where would you get fillers?
Oh, just like supposedly if you get up here, it like helps lift this. No, I'm not doing it, but I could see why. And I think it's very interesting that all four of us would have different plans for things that we'd probably like. I'm like, oh, boobs are fine. But it's like we all have different, and where do these insecurities come? Or where do we get it from society? Is it ourself?
Where were they born?
What?
Nobody knows.
What?
Oh,
exactly. Exactly.
No, I know 100%. 12-year-old boys saying you don't have any, no, I have a story about
oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
your villain.
I have a villain origin story about hating boobs and it was horrible. I mean, it was
at 12.
Well, it was 13. It was at Apollo. I think I wore I didn't, because it was I didn't really need a bra, and I think I didn't wear one day, and so they just looked bigger but they weren't big at all. They were still little. And then somebody, I know exactly who it is.
Who is it? Name names.
You can name it after if you want to.
But he was she's stuffing her bra because that, and then the other days I went back to wearing I had a bra or whatever on, and so then they looked flatter, and he had this whole thing in gym she's clearly stuffing her bra and blah blah. So I was just incredibly insecure. So then it was just I just want real boobs that but I want real boobs. So I'd like surgery for the fake boobs. But I mean, it just became this focal point in my brain of
oh wow,
your boobs are not enough. It was not, because I knew they weren't.
Even though they fed 3 children.
Oh yeah, no, they're beautiful. I love them now. Everybody's been satisfied, but it's you still but I'm still oh, that'd be where I'd.
The cool sculpting on here too, the whatever, and it says between 650 to 850 a cycle. So I'm not sure how many cycles.
Yeah,
need.
So that's the liposuction with the freeze.
That's the one that what you were saying. There's a model. It was Evangelista.
Get injured.
She got deformed, disfigured.
It's really bad.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
I don't know this.
There's risk with everything, and what your risks are for certain procedures or not. I don't know, but
you don't know any other costs.
What else is on there? What's a surprising thing that we could do?
I don't know how much you pay for your Botox where you're at, but it's $13.25 a unit here.
It's a little less than that, but yeah. I actually get
$13.25, right?
Per unit.
Yes, per unit.
But so just typically, how many units do you get for your face?
So it's I get Dysport, not Botox. It's just another neurotoxin. I just call it Botox because it's the same thing.
It's common,
but it's
$450 a unit.
Yeah, but that you need more units. So I think 1 unit of Dysport equals
2.
It's 3 to 1 is the yeah. So
so it's still about $13. I've done it before. Oh, okay. It doesn't hurt.
I mean, I don't. It doesn't feel good. I usually, because I do at the same time I do microneedling, so they numb my face for it. No, so they numb it.
Oh, okay. So you don't know.
Yeah, and that's just supposed to build up. All they do is put little holes all over your face, and it's supposed to build up your natural collagen.
Gotcha. Is that what it is? Is that all Botox is? Is collagen?
No.
That's needling.
Botox is a neurotoxin, so it just freezes your muscles, so you can't and it depends on how much movement you have. Yeah, you can put it in different places. So I put it up in my forehead, crow's feet, and then I get some here because it's supposed to help. I get my DOAs. These ones right here, so I can't round to help my jowling.
Interesting. And so all of this is protective, so you don't create wrinkles. If it doesn't move, it won't wrinkle.
I lived in El Paso, Texas for 10 years, and I was in the sun. I love the sun, and I'm fair skinned, and I definitely had some wrinkles at rest all the time. Pretty young, in my 20s. Yeah, and I wasn't really worried about those until I was I didn't start getting Botox until I was 40. Yeah, and then. But they went away, for doing it. So it does.
Would they come back if you stopped? Or
eventually. I think it's just the movement. And I'm very expressive in how I talk too. So I use my hands, I use my face. So before I would be but now I can't scrunch my forehead as much. But
I like it.
So I think how expressive you are, how just sun damage.
Yeah.
But and then it's just your own individual. You know, if you mind,
you just look young. It's definitely not
because
your face doesn't look frozen or anything.
And I try to do it conservatively. I don't want a lot. I still want to
keep everything moving, but not
not just exactly.
Not like Nicole.
I don't want frozen. But
tell that.
But no, you know what is fascinating is if you watch TV or movies from the 90s or early 2000s, you're oh, these people, they look like real people. Yeah. And now we're all looking
Oh, it's
Do you even hear they have a new thing where they're calling the Mar-a-Lago face?
Oh, I
they're
saw
showing-
something. I
yeah.
TikToked out
What
there.
is that?
That's
Like
where it's the
plastic
giant
surgery?
filler.
Okay.
It's the.
I mean,
it's like, then they're showing people from like before they had any work done versus now, and it's like, oh, they do all look the same.
yeah.
So I saw this thing on TikTok, and they were talking about like the new beauty is going to be actually looking unique. Like
True. I
Yeah.
believe it.
I think it's already kind of turned that way.
like
Yeah.
that girl on White Lotus with the teeth. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
she's gorgeous, right? And you know,
But technically, that should
but
get
just-
fixed. Yeah.
Right. She doesn't look like all the Hollywood
Perfect.
veneers,
Yeah.
with, like the fake teeth, and
Yeah.
it's like refreshing to see that.
To see
so
a
I think like
Yeah.
maybe that's our next evolution.
Yeah.
is where
Between
we, like,
that and like Chat GPT, like I feel like human is going to be the new like it thing. Like
Yeah.
the more
Hold on,
human.
how did you into Chat GPT
No,
into
because I think,
being more human as the new thing?
Because I think
Those
we're going to
seem
start
like two
using
opposite.
like chat. No, I'm saying like
No.
between like everybody's going to start using Chat GPT to write everything and do
Okay,
music. Like it's
gotcha.
going to be very
That's
robotic.
like the plastic
That's
surgery.
like plastic
Right.
surgery.
Gotcha.
And then like so anything that sounds like quirky and weird, it's like, well, that wouldn't have flown like
Oh,
before.
okay.
it's gonna fly now because it's like, well, we know a human wrote that. Well, we think a human, but anyways, but then
Right.
the same way, like a face,
Yeah.
like, oh, that all looks the same. I know what you've done. I've got a good
Right.
menu on
Yeah.
probably what you've
right.
participated in. But then you have a quirky person who kept it, and you're like, oh, that's like it.
Yeah.
It feels refreshing to be like, I know this wasn't written by Chat GPT, and I know this wasn't,
Yeah.
but and it's not because there's like a difference between like I just want to look better and feel better, but everything like you guys still look like your pictures from middle
Yeah.
school. You know what I mean? Like that didn't change your humanity, what
Right.
you guys have done. But there are people like the Mar-a-Lago look like you've clearly taken
Look
one
like a
person
different
and you
Right.
all look
when
the
you
same.
go to the
Yeah.
doctor and say, I want to look like Kim Kardashian.
Exactly. Like, that's a
everybody-
different
there's
goal
20
than-
Kim Kardashian lookalikes. And that's
Yeah.
all that, that's
Yeah.
different than saying, I want to fix my crow's feet or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to look like the same person, which and hey, if you want a Mar-a-Lago look, go for it. I don't care.
No,
But
I
like,
think the thing, it's like, is it?
like
You-
where do
you
I
do-
get to
you
judge?
do
I know.
you.
Yeah.
it's like-
That's true.
But okay, so what how has our perception of plastic surgery changed from the 90s/2000s to now? Do you feel like
Kind of like, I guess, with
Yeah.
the definition, looking it up,
Yeah.
like before, I thought it was something you shouldn't do because it meant you were vain.
Yeah.
Like not just caring about your looks, but only caring about you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
obsessive. Like
yeah.
to spend that money and time. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that. I mean, you obviously care only about that if you're willing to do that kind of thing.
Right.
So looked at it as a negative thing
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think historically it has been behind closed doors and not
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah.
Except for Dolly Parton, who is obviously
I love
the most
her.
amazing person ever. She's like, heck yeah, I'm plastic. I don't care. But I think if the celebrities who are getting it were more open about it, I think
Yeah.
that would be better. Like, it shouldn't be a negative connotation. And if you quit acting like it's a secret thing, it probably wouldn't.
right.
Yeah.
And because I think it's like almost like a superiority thing. Like people are like, no, like I worked so hard and this is
Yeah.
why I'm like this. Or like, I'm better. I was born better than you. I was born with giant boobs or whatever,
Right. Like
a
perfect
big
boobs and a
round
great
butt.
nice.
I'm a harder worker.
But-
I was able to work.
Yeah.
Selling a workout plan or
And they
diet
do- and they
pills
do
or
it.
health
Yeah.
supplements.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm doing this because of all this natural work. It's like, no.
Yeah.
you weren't.
Yeah.
You've got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of surgery.
Well, even the celebrities who work out to get to the natural, you still had a trainer and a chef cooking
Yeah.
your food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally
you didn't
different.
do it on your own ever.
Yes.
But yeah, I think so. So I think it's historically been looked at as something kind of you shouldn't do,
Mm-hmm.
so therefore bad and therefore secret.
Yeah.
So I think kind of if the celebrities would talk more about it I wanted to change this, so I changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did you, I don't know. I mean, like my sisters have both had breast augmentations. My mom's done like eye stuff. So I don't know if I've never ever really thought of it as like super negative.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I think there's culturally, like there's,
yeah.
I mean, like
maybe
there's different,
culturally, like personally though, I was like, oh, okay, that makes it's like you don't like it, you need to fix it. But
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if my perception's completely changed from I
Mhm.
guess
The-
I guess me personally. I guess maybe you're talking more about society.
Society, I think. But
Okay.
no, but you personally would be interesting
Yeah.
as well. Like,
So I think I've always kind of been
I-
aware. I mean, like I said, I'm a family of girls. So it's something that we've talked about always. You know, we're always hyper focused on the way we look
Yeah.
and stuff like that, good or bad. But But yeah, I've never had super
That's an
negative
interesting
connotations on
like
it.
distinction. Like plastic surgery's never felt like something in the toolbox of how to make yourself look better. Like it sounds like your family was like more, yeah, that's a thing that you
Yes.
could like. It's not. It's a neutral. It's like putting I don't want to make it that flippant, but like,
Yes.
you know, I know it was
It's
a
an
decision.
option.
It's
Yeah.
an option, and it
Yeah.
was never like off the table from the
Mhm.
beginning. Like me, I'd have to like mentally put it on the table
Okay.
before I
had to
considered
that's the way
it.
I was.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
probably part of the society that viewed it as a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably why I see society
Yeah.
as seeing it that way. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, that's cheating. You know, you
Cheating feels like
Or-
the word, but
yeah.
yeah.
or again, you know, that's just too vain and not a good way to spend money.
Right.
You know, if you've got that much money, there's other things you should be spending it on.
Right.
See, I think I put it in the bucket of like self care and makeup and cosmetics. Like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
like my sisters and I have talked about, and like friends have talked about, let's do a Korea trip to get some like work, like little minor surgeries
Mhm.
done. I mean, or like even just like the skincare stuff
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
mean,
they know
yeah,
what
I
they're
guess it's
doing.
always
They
just
know what
been
they're doing in Korea.
yeah. So, or, you know, they do trips like
Yeah.
that. And so it's like, yeah. So I've never, I mean, it's always been like a risk though, but it's always something you had to weigh out, like with
Mhm.
anything, but
Yeah.
not necessarily an evil bad thing. if
Right.
that
There
makes
wasn't a
sense.
morality to it
Yeah.
that
No, it was
cheating was.
Yeah, it was
you know,
more kind of like you just need to make sure you have the money and
pick a
are
good
worth
doctor
the risk and all that kind
yeah.
of stuff. Yeah.
No shady behind, you know,
Yeah.
here's my U-Haul truck.
Yeah.
Jump in for your
Yeah.
Botox.
But I do love the transparency, and I think the whole
Yeah.
social media
Mhm.
aspect of people talking about it. Like my
Mhm.
sister-in-law, she's really into all. Yeah, I guess my sister-in-law's got stuff done too, and she's very open about it. And like you said, you want to be around a network of people that's going to share to tell you how much things cost. That was a good doctor. That was a bad doctor. And like I think being transparent helps
so
all
much.
women.
Yes.
Cost was
Yeah.
one of the one things I had a really hard time finding online.
Yeah.
Really hard time. But most of the websites and stuff of doctors I looked at said just call and we'll give you an estimate over the phone. So I guess that's just their marketing campaign. So they would give you that before. You don't have to go in. You can just call them and ask, how much would a breast lift be?
Right.
But nobody lists prices, and I couldn't even find a whole lot of it in just like blogs and posts and things like that. So that was tough. Tummy tuck stuff, you can find information about tummy tucks all over the place. I will say, as far as the social medias I looked at, one of the doctors here in Nashville that I looked at that I was interested to look at, but her costs were quite a bit higher when I called, like
Huh.
a lot higher. But her work on her, you know, her
social
posted
media
pictures looks really good.
Yeah.
And she seems really good. But it's Dr. Amica Aesthetics,
Mhm.
or Dr. Amica is her name. I can't, and then Amica Aesthetics is her practice.
Instagram and things.
But yeah, she does a lot of very informational videos and things like that. So it's a really good place to learn
Mhm.
about.
and if you're rich, you
And
can go get
yeah,
it.
I was gonna say, and if you've got the extra money, she seems
Sounds
like
good.
she would be really good. I did not end up doing a consultation with her.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but just her social media presence was awesome.
Yeah.
There's also like a YouTube thing. It's called Beauty and the Surgeon, who do kind of a back and forth kind of talk about different things. And then just a person who had done the weight loss body surgeries was Sleeve Brittany Alone. She's on TikTok.
Oh, I like that.
She's on TikTok and Instagram. So you can see a lot of her before and afters and her personal journey of saying, yeah, this hurt or this didn't hurt
Yeah.
or this was
Yeah.
worth it and it wasn't. So basically, two doctors and a patient kind of perspective.
Those are
Get
good.
your information
Yeah,
from.
those kind of where I would, the Dr. Amica is where my
And so
big
transparent.
information
Yeah.
comes from.
That's awesome.
So, but if you want to know prices on anything, I guess you can just comment on our video and ask, how much would this cost? And if it's in this little menu of services, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Otherwise, if it's not in there, I wouldn't. I don't know. But
Right. Good
Awesome.
deal. Does anybody else have anything to add to the?
and then I guess, in case you're wondering,
Yeah.
also where I got it,
Yeah.
mine done was Cool Springs Plastic Surgery,
Mm.
and they do surgeries in their Brentwood location. They have other locations that just do things like the Botoxes and the fillers and the stuff like
Awesome.
that.
I have a question for Shelly. Now that you've got it done, what have you done since that you would have never done before? Is there like a new capability or a new confidence to do something?
Yeah, like
that
are you
you've
wearing
done?
a bikini
Yeah.
this summer?
I wore a dress to a male strip show.
I was thinking that. I
A
was like,
mini
Shelly
skirt.
wouldn't have worn that before.
It was pretty short, yeah.
Yeah,
It was very short. It was good. It was
Yeah.
great.
But I'm not.
Awesome.
I don't usually do dresses, and one of the reasons because I feel like because my legs are shorter, the longer ones don't look right. I feel like they cut in weird spots. So it needs to be a shorter one, and then I'm never
Then you
confident
didn't-
enough to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, wearing a dress out to our
I love
downtown
it.
Nashville.
downtown night. Yeah, was
Yes.
something that I can't think of the last time I wore a dress out. It's probably somebody's wedding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, probably.
Your wedding.
Probably mine.
Your
yeah,
wedding.
my wedding.
Like you're,
It's the last time I wore a dress in public. Yeah. So-
So there you go. That's a big personal
love it.
kind of achievement. You know, small things. Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. Like, you know, as talk about my sister-in-law, but just that freedom to feel like I can dress and do things. Like I don't have the restriction of like, oh, I want to hide this part or don't want to, you know, and like you just have a lot more, oh, all these clothes are now available to me. Like that's an exciting place to be. Like,
I think that's like important too. It's not like you're trying to be someone else. You're just trying to be
more fully
yourself. Yeah. Like, let me be confident.
And then, again, if you are thinking about doing it, you can find different pictures and stuff, but there are scars. So you have to weigh, is the scar worth?
Yeah.
Yes. So the tummy tuck scar, it is beneath, anytime I've worn underwear, it's been completely hidden. So if, I mean, unless you're going to a nude beach, you should be fine.
Your husband will, or partner will be the only one.
The scars on my breast lift, the ones underneath, I guess where they're pushing stuff through, those are visible, but you'd have to be kind of looking under the boob. But the one that goes up to the nipple and around the nipple, you can't see hardly at all.
Interesting.
I don't need it. Fantastic there. And I guess because too, you know, pink scar around a pink nipple is probably not going to be that visible. So those are very light. But again, nobody's seeing that except for husbands. The thighs and the arms, those are going to be the most visible ones. The right here is a scar tape that you put on afterwards. So it starts there and it goes to here.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be a big one. But I've played around and kind of done it. So unless I'm lifting my arms, you can't see it.
Oh,
like if they're down at all, you can't see it where it's at. Even if they're straight out, it's kind of in a underneath spot. Yeah. So it's a really good location. The ones in your thighs, they do like a cut in your groin line, like I guess where your panty lines kind of go, and then down the thighs all the way to my knee, like where my knee rounds. So that's going to be the biggest one that I'll hopefully it'll fade out and all that. Another thing that they do at the plastic surgery centers is like laser treatments for scarring.
Yeah.
If that one doesn't lighten up enough to my preference, I could always consider that in the future. But my tummy tuck scar from the, it's been less than a year, but it was starting to fade out. So hopefully these will too. But scarring is a thing. And one last resource is realself.com. It's a website about plastic surgery. There are a gazillion before and after pictures.
Oh, interesting.
They have like a question and answer page where doctors will do question and answers, and there are ratings of doctors.
Interesting. Good.
That's a good website.
Like that sounds like in that transparency conversation, like that helps everybody.
Yes.
Like because bad doctors get called.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all know Shelly Johnson. Like, so she had recently like a couple years ago, like a horrible. She's like probably in her 50s, entrepreneur type lady, inspirational.
So she was really big with like the
like
kickbox. Her classes were at every gym forever.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I used to love her classes, and then she stopped being affiliated with Beachbody.
Yeah, Beachbody. Yeah, but so she recently had like some work done, and her doctor turned like he was a very big Instagram doctor apparently, and like would do all sorts. Anyways. And she kind of like just kept trusting him. She was like, okay, so he's kind of got like a crazy personality. And it just turned out to be like, after talking to more women and her experience, like he was very like, would like use sales tactics that probably weren't great for women. Like, just go ahead and add, just like a bullyish thing. Yeah. And then maybe a little bit of like, while you were under sexual harassment type stuff, like nurses came out saying like, yeah, he is like, it's like there was and then like he had like one patient die, like he wasn't like good at what he did, I guess. And then, but lots of people don't talk about it, and you don't want to, you're embarrassed. I had this done. So that secrecy keeps people like him doing what they're doing.
Yeah. When I went for my consultation, I asked about lifting butt, and he's like, anything with the thighs will fix what you've got. So he was not trying to upsell me or anything like that.
Right. Like,
and then again, I've been a female nurse anytime he's been in the room with me, which it is very uncomfortable whether she's there or not. I mean, you are standing there in basically a thong. Yeah. That's it. And he's looking at you like he's going to sculpt something, not like he's like lusting after you. No, he's looking at you almost like an artist and kind of like, okay, I got to fix this here, like a tailor that's going to sew something. So, but you're still standing there like, that's me. And you're like looking at the nurse over his head while he's doing his thing. It's very awkward. And then they take pictures of you like this. So hopefully they don't get hacked. Because then they get all these pictures of all these women. But so it is kind of an awkward thing to go to. They do recommend that you get multiple consultations. I didn't because
You just felt
I'm
comfortable with
lazy
this one?
and I felt comfortable enough with this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
But if
you
you
did
go to
that
one and you
research.
have any kind of,
Yeah.
at least get one more
And
consultation.
I think Shalene had that. Like she kind of had that
yeah,
like
she
in her
was. She was
voice.
like-
She was like, he's good on Instagram.
Yeah.
Other people have said he's great.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of overrode your instinct.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think that's good advice, Shelly. Like if your instinct is
think-
saying,
Yeah.
this is good or bad,
Yeah. Follow.
listen to it.
And I think there's so much power in women talking. I think
Yes.
there's power in like us getting here on TV. I
Yes.
think there's just power in like
Okay.
putting it out there, like what you're doing.
100%.
Shelly, is
And
like-
I had read reviews on the
I
doctor
agree.
shows that
I love
were
it.
good reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd seen him as like somebody had asked on one of the Facebook pages, who would you recommend? And he was one name that somebody put on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
So he had good reviews and stuff. So that's why when I felt okay, I was like, I don't need to go do it
Yeah.
anymore. Because
Yeah.
I will say consultations do cost money.
Oh, they're not.
It was
free?
$100 for the consultation.
Oh,
it goes towards your surgery.
Oh, it's not terrible.
Oh, okay.
So again, the
like a free
Ametha
construction
Aesthetics,
fee.
her consultation fee was $250. That's kind of
That's why
Right.
you didn't even go.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't go there. And also,
you already knew her prices were going to be
yeah,
significantly.
they'd already given me the price. I knew they were significantly higher. It was gonna be like $10,000 higher for the first surgery.
Yeah.
And then scheduling, they are far out scheduling. So 4 to 6 months could be, if you
Mhm.
want to schedule something, like you're like, okay, I've decided I want to do it today.
You're not
You're not
getting
doing it today. It's gonna be
I mean,
two,
she's like
2 to 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, Shelly was ready.
Yeah.
So they do book up quick. So
A lot of us are getting this
If
done.
you are-
Clearly, like, don't be ashamed.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, they're busy.
Yeah.
They're not
think-
busy.
I think he only
nobody
does surgery on 2 days.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
Um,
probably a big part.
But
too,
I think depending on those surgeries he's doing, he could do multiple surgeries a
Ah,
day. So if he's
yeah.
only doing, a brow lift, he might
Yeah.
could also do a breast lift.
right, yeah, I love it. Okay, well, this was
Thank
a
you,
really
ladies.
fun
Yes,
episode.
Thank you so much, Shelly, for sharing.
So if you love this episode, leave a review, share it with a friend, or come find us on TikTok and YouTube. And we're figuring this out together. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay.